As you can see, I'm standing for the first time ever in the podcast in the studio. And I think that's because I feel like I want to go back to my roots. This position I'm in now with this piece of metal with a microphone on the end of it is where all my confidence was spawned when I was 17 or 18 years old. Such a long time ago now, it's crazy to even think about it. But the reason I'm standing here now is because I feel like I've come full circle. And what I mean by that is that we are on episode 50 of this podcast, which is remarkable to me because I still remember in my black and white hoodie downstairs in the kitchen with a shitty old second-hand Mac laptop, pressing record and rambling just to ramble. So I got the first episode done and I figured I'll build it from here. And now we're on episode 50 and the name of this episode is Farewell for Now. I don't need to go into too much detail in why it's going to be called that. Well, in fact, I suppose I will. I think that it's time to momentarily at least put a pause on the podcast on episode 50 seems mostly appropriate because I just don't have the energy or the focus to really do this thing that has become a child of mine, to really do it justice, you know, to really make it come to its full fruition, to where it should be. And there's a number of reasons for that, because to put it metaphorically, I've got this well of energy, as we all do. I've got this well of energy, but I have these like 5 reservoirs in front of me and I've got one bucket and I'm dipping into the well and I'm trying to fill every reservoir, but they're all leaking a little bit at the same time. And the end result being that none of my reservoirs are full substantially enough to get anything out of it, any value or benefit out of it, because I'm trying to do so many things and this podcast is suffering because of that. Like, I haven't listened to my last 5 episodes because I know that they're not as good as some of my early stuff when this was my main focus. Once I got out of work, I was like, right, I need to write something for the podcast. What am I going to do this week? And I'm in a position in life at the moment that I can't do that. I've too many reservoirs to fill. I've got like the Adam Media business, which is the main one now, right? I've got the podcast, I've got the band, I've got connecting with people, and then I've got my relationships. And I don't have enough energy in the well, enough water to fill them all. I just can't do it. I'm just running around like a headless chicken. And things are suffering as a result of that. And this podcast is suffering as a result of that. And I am in a position in life where if I am going to do something now, I will only do it if I do it with conviction. And I don't think I can do it with conviction at the moment because I need to focus on this business. I have to focus on this business or else I starve, right? It's that simple. I put myself in the position, 1, that I'm grateful to be able to do, and 2, that I'm glad I did, but I've put myself in a position where I have no choice but to get out there and make money. Like, that's it, man. I burned all the bridges behind me. I said, oh, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm doing it, but it requires a lot a lot of energy, a substantial amount of energy and time. So my art forms are suffering as a result of that, and that isn't fair on the art forms, and it's not fair on you guys to be tuning into me and listening to me doing average level stuff. You know, it's not what I stand for anymore. I done average level half-ass stuff for 39 years. I don't do that anymore. And this podcast has taught me that. It has taught me the value of really getting stuck in, focusing, studying, learning and writing, developing and storytelling. And it gave me all that shit, man. All of it. But I have to be able to give it back to it. And if I'm not able to give it back to it currently, well then episode 50 seems like the most appropriate time to say, let's pause for a moment, reevaluate the situation. And this is said with regret, but it's all part of the journey, man. There should be no sadness in this for me, but there is a little bit, to be honest. But damn, it feels good to stand in front of a mic again. Speaking of standing in front of a mic again, this is one of another part of the equation is that the band Drop Tune, we're going live this year. I haven't stood on stage in 9 years, nearly 10 years. And we're going live this year, and the lads are putting so much energy into it, and I've been kind of badly juggling everything, in and out, dipping in and out, you know, and it's not fair on them either. So I want to get stuck in, you know, I want to do that side of things justice too. This is the last run of me really like bedding myself into music. I didn't think I'd still be doing it at this age. And I'm still enjoying it, but like when we go gigging, right now, this is a totally different thing. You wouldn't believe how hard it is on your body to gig. Like in 2017, the last time I played with Remedy, like it used to be so intense. The music was so hard, and I would be soaked after like an 8 set gig or something, dripping, and my neck would be tight because I'd be bam, bam, jumping around, right? Everything, my abs would be sore because I'd be like so constricted trying to deliver all the vocal as intensely as I could. And now I do a rehearsal with Drop Tune and I'm fucking wrecked the next day. We do a video shoot the next day, my neck is jacked up. So like I have to get myself back in condition for that. But I'm looking forward to that challenge. I'm looking forward to getting on stage again, especially with the lads, man. I haven't been on stage with a full band in like, fuck, God knows. I don't even want to think about it. So that's going to be exciting. But yeah, like just thinking about the podcast, I mean, I suppose I should thank all you guys for allowing me to make it to episode 50. You know, the only reason I'm doing it is because people, for some fucking reason, unbeknownst to me, tune in and listen to me just rambling or telling a story or talking to a guest. And it makes me feel like valued, you know? I have a lot of gratitude for that. So honestly, like I wouldn't have made it halfway without everybody who texts me and messages me or DMs me saying, oh, like that episode was so cool, it made me think of this, or I never thought about things like that. And that's the reason I got into this, was to try and, I wouldn't say inspire because that's an egotistical thing to say, but to try and make people think differently about things. That's all. No politics, no drama, no agenda. Just this is how I see things in life. That's all it was. And I'd like to talk to people who have dealt with strange challenges in life, and I'd like to speak about how they see things in life. That's what the road was. The road was the journey of life. And I think I achieved that for the majority of it. But I feel like now I'm not achieving that, you know? But we did for a while. And thank you guys, because that's why, as I said, that's why we've made it this far. And I'm not going to go take out the scroll and start naming all my guests, because I'll most definitely forget one or two of them. And then that would be terrible. So thank you from the bottom of my heart Whew, that's hard to say. To all my guests who come on the podcast, and there's probably between 15 and 20 of you. I mean, you're all legends. And I've heard some great stories and of stuff that's changed me, changed how I think about life. I'm just like that tiny bit glad to play that tiny bit in the journey, man. Whew, fuck, man. I feel like I'm saying a eulogy here. And it's been awesome. It's been fucking awesome. It really has. And as I walked around today thinking about what I was going to say, I was able to step back and look at the podcast and say, well, what was that all about? And originally I thought I was going to be like the Irish Joe Rogan, right? Because we have like the same hair, lack thereof. We have the same bank balance. We have the same martial arts skills. So inevitably, I was going to be the Irish equivalent of Joe Rogan, right? But that's the vibe I wanted to go with. Long form content, unfiltered. And as it went on, I realized it wasn't really that either. And the beautiful thing about the Raw podcasts was I still can't tell you what it was. And I think that's the beautiful thing about it, because it's not locked into a niche. And I learned in the last few months that I don't play the game that everybody else plays, and I don't want to play the game, I don't try and make clips that'll do well on 7-second socials. I don't ask somebody a question that'll make them say something that I can clip and throw on TikTok and try and go viral. I don't want to ride off the tailcoats of someone else's trauma. It just wasn't me. And I realized that the Road podcast, it's not a TikTok thing. It's not an Instagram thing. It's most definitely not a YouTube thing. It's on YouTube, but it's just there. It's just passing through. Because it's just, I don't build it for clickbait. I don't build it for, people think I'm crazy, but I don't make stuff for views. I just wanted to be myself. I don't put big thumbnails of me like fucking Mr. Beast going, oh, fucking, you won't believe what happened next. It's just, it ain't me, man. It's just not me. I just like to think that I put a piece of me through this fucking microphone and into your ears. And I think I achieved that in most cases. And that's a win for me. That's success for me. Not, I don't need 1 million fucking views on YouTube. Man, this shit is fucking me up even saying that. It's not how I put currency in the podcast. It never was. I did most of the time. I didn't even log in and check my numbers. People used to ask me all the time. I said, I don't want to fucking know, man. And just keep going. I don't care about sponsorship deals. It's just bleh. I think the style I approach on the podcast will only blow up if people know who I am previously. That was the more I looked at it, the more I realized like every podcast that I like, in most circumstances anyway, was from someone that was previously established for something else. And I was like, oh shit, yeah, I knew them before they podcasted, but nobody knew me, right? So that was a challenge. That's a challenge I will continue to face. But maybe in the future, when my business dealings level out and I can chill a little bit more with that, and I get to sit down and be a writer again, because that's what I want to be when I work on this. I want to be a writer. I want to go back to being a writer, when I do the podcast. Maybe when things are calming down on the business front, maybe I can come back and maybe I can be crafty again with it, and maybe I can write stuff that's different again. Because, like, I mean, I'm a fucking artist at heart, I'm not a spew out the news kind of person. I'm an artist, man. This should be a form of escapism for you guys. And I think maybe it will be again in the future. I don't know. But all I want to say on this episode 50 is thank you. Just don't really need to say anything else, do I? It's just thank you. And the podcast won't be obviously on the internet much. Well, the previous episodes will be. I mean, but you won't see much of the podcast online. Me online as the podcast, but I'm still online. If you guys want to talk to me, I don't want to ever not talk to people that listen to me after all this, like 16, 17 months. It'll just be a slightly different medium is all. But I'll still be there. I just won't be pressing this record button anymore. And on that note, my friends, I shall take a stage bow to you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for playing your part. You are all fucking legends. And one final time, have a good motherfucking week, my friends. This has been the Road Podcast, and this has been a pleasure, man.
Instrument of raw influence. All project opinion, never lack significance. Moving mannequins, cells into the grids. I'll strip your flesh to see if something does reside within. Speak with urgency before they murder me. I'll split my chest, remove my heart, no need for surgery. Cause there's no substance in any sentence. These politicians sell you freedom, which is legless. Which is legless. I thought I told you, man, I'm old school. Got half the country standing with me like the dog here. I know they sold you, so others own us. Now we may as well be swinging from a meat hook. And can you see, look, another speaking crook. Set up on the bridge, say you what you want to hear. Cause there's no substance in any sentence. These politicians sell you freedom, which is legless. Substance. Where's the substance? Tell me, where's the substance? Tell me, where's the substance? Stolen house. From your stolen house. From your stolen